These are either English or German. I think these are English. And they are paper mache. So they're all handmade, and then the oil paint that is used to decorate them are helping to keep them together. They date to the early years of the 1920s into the 1930s, and value on one is about $250. They're kind of good. I don't know if I can put them on my nose. Kind of cool, right? Kind of big, of course. Not quite a hoarder, right? Like one step down from a hoarder. Yeah. My father used to bring it into the garage, and my mother used to throw it out. He'd bring it in, she'd throw it out. And he'd go, Elsie, where's that? I don't know where any of your stuff is left. I don't know where any of your stuff is. My father's a left-handed pitcher, so they called him lefty. And I don't know where your stuff is. And you knew she threw it out. You knew it. And he knew it too, but that went on for years. It was all right. So sometimes color will relate to time period. I know that these particular pieces have to be made between 1885 and about 1900. I see these range in value, low at $4,000, high at $15,000. I think yours are worth about $7,500. They're gorgeous, in gorgeous condition. Your Chinese stamp dates anytime between 1868 and 1912. Value on this piece? Hi, honey. How are you doing? Good, I'm fine. I get a little nervous, a little crazy when people come to the table and I'm not ready for it. Oh no, someone's screaming. Why are you screaming? You're gorgeous. How's it feel to be two? Your knees work, mine don't. Uh-oh, now he's got out of the carriage and he's out of the stroller, he's gonna get carried around. That's what he was screaming about. Oh, back to you. 1868 to 1912, Chinese, value on this particular piece, $100. How much did you pay for all three of them? You paid $5, so somebody doesn't know that they're worth $100. The seal on the bottom would be a wax seal, be impressed, and you would impress it, right? Sue, this is a scarab from Egypt, and it's big. These are modeled after the bugs that Cleopatra would wear. Scarabs like this one is carved. Scarabs like this would have some hieroglyphs at the back, right? And they're modeled after, of course, the beetle bug or insect, and then you have the insect here on this side. They became quite popular about 1922 when we exhumed King Tut's tomb, sparking a movement known as Egyptomania. Yours is earlier than that. Your particular piece probably dates from the middle part of the 19th century and has been handed down. Typically, they actually are like pendants. You know, they sit here like a pendant for good luck and such. Value on that particular piece, and I would say anywhere between $350 and $450. It's a very nice piece. You're welcome. Episode 1, Knee Deep in the Dead, is basically a package that contains shareware. That's what this is. So you'd be surprised at how these episodes, these games, these computer elements are very, very collectible. I appraised Atari, the first Atari game. That particular piece was bought for $2 at a yard sale, and it was worth $30,000. Video games. Vintage video, it's huge. This particular piece on the market today, if you see these selling eBay, anywhere between $150 and $250. Not bad. Hi, Louis. How'd you acquire the padlock? You know what's funny about these things? You know, new events always spark my memories of old events. I was at an event in San Diego, and that particular event was in a gorgeous part of San Diego called Coronado. You have to go over the bridge, you may know it, a beautiful place. And they had an Alcatraz padlock from one of the cells at Alcatraz. Now that was expensive. That was a neat, rare item. Was somebody on the railroad in your family?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of. Are you sure? Did you do Ancestry.com? This is like Ancestry.com with dust. You know? We got all the objects, Ancestry.com, but they're a little dusty. Piece like this, secondary market value, railroad padlock, typically they sell for about $50. Thank you, hon. All right, let's talk about this duck. What do you know about Jack Hauser, 1956 duck carver, painter, artist? This one's dated 56.
It has some of his characteristic work. This particular abstracted element of the tail, right, is very well known, right? What else? The position of the head, very well known, right? The length, right? Very nice, heavy, good condition, perfect condition, like it's just been sitting on a shelf the whole time, right? That's where it's been, and you know how these teachers are. We're very neat and particular, but yours is very beautiful. I'd say $500. Very nice. It's documented inside. Terry, I lied. There's stuff inside. I didn't think there was stuff inside. So we got to slide these?
Just the one.
Just the one? Just slide one. Just do that. Oh, there's all this to document it, right? Let's look inside. Here's the inside, right, of Carol's piece that you like for about $150. Is this part of the documentation, Carol? What is this? A picture of the person who owned this or their great-great-great relative in India in the 1870s. It says, His Majesty's Indian Army. Yes. Dr. Jones, right? And then it says here that you're having the Madras presidency. Okay. So that's what you've got here. I'm going to do this so they can see on there. Do you see this kind of painting on this, Carol? This particular painting is called faux wood painting. You see it faux, F-A-U-X, like faux fur, faux gold, faux. Like, you don't want a faux boyfriend, okay? Value on this particular piece is about $75, but it dates to about the turn of the 20th century. It's nice. In feudal times in Japan, so prior to 1868, when the emperor said, all you feudal lords have to come to Edo, which is now Tokyo, and you have to bring your whole family because I got to watch out for you people. I got to watch what you're doing. But prior to that, prior to 1868, in the outskirts, in the rural areas, they would print their own money. So these are the actual printing plates, if you will, right? How did you acquire them again? You bought them on eBay?
Yeah.
So how much did you pay on eBay? $100.
I think 120.
120, 150 is kind of your sweet spot, right? So when you go to get a piece of jewelry for your wife at the jewelry store, you're in that 120, 150. He's like, Dr. Laurie.
Yeah, my wife.
I don't, she doesn't get jewelry? She ought to. Every wife, right? That first diamond should be only the first, right? Right, ladies? Yeah, all right. This particular set is worth about $250 for the set. So you did okay. Hand painted, cast, carriage, and horses, 2, 4, 6. The team of horses, you've got 8 horses, you've got the coachman, and you've got the coach. How'd you acquire it?
Garage sale.
Garage sale. Do you think you got a bargain? How much did you pay? 60, 60. Think it's worth more than that? How long have you had it? It has all of the barrels, too, that went with it. And there are a couple of figures that I said, oh, they're very small, held on to them. So those figures are, you have them, and you bought those at the garage sale, too. So how long have you had it? 5 years?
5 years.
About 10 years ago, these used to go for about $1,200. All right? So now the market has moved down some, but if you got it 5 years ago for 60, this particular piece is worth about 300, you still did pretty well, all right? The problem with it is that it has been repainted with acrylic paint. Originally, it would not have such shiny paint. It has actually a number on it. It looks like that's $3.99. That the thrift store person wrote $3.99 on the bowl with a marker. That is permanent. Why did they do that? It's too bad. Okay, you paid $2 for it. Right? Now, it is hand done, it is hand turned. If you look at it, I want you, when you were looking at wooden bowls like this, I want you to turn it, hold it in your hand, sort of like a steering wheel on a car, and do this. See if one area is thinner or less heavy, lighter weight than another area. This is all consistent all the way around. I don't feel like, oh, that's lighter, oh, that's thinner, oh, that's thicker, all the way around. It's a nice shape. It's a good size. It probably dates to the 1960s. It's valued at about $250. It's solid, gorgeous. That's a nice piece, and it is hand turned. It's a work of art. So let's look very closely at your rug. Your rug has a border, right? Border, and a field. And the field is all different kinds of floral elements, right? So you've got this band of flowers, and these flowers, and the central flower, and the central green, and more green, and more green. And many people on my YouTube channel have heard me say, you know, it's believed that only God can make green, right? And when you put green like the landscape, and when you use green dye for a rug, it's sort of your connection between nature, art, and God. Okay, so more green the better. You have a lot of green in the rug. You'll notice that the floral garland pattern also is in this border. There's a sawtooth pattern in this border. There's a sawtooth pattern in this border, and there's a red border at the end. As you come toward the problem areas, you'll notice that there was red here, but it's now been cut off, okay? And that this was the end of the rug or the runner. So basically that's what you're looking at, and then you have the mirror image on the other side. Okay, same thing here. Cut it in half, mirror image here, mirror image there. That's how you know you've got the end of the rug. But your ends have been cut off, chewed off, sawed off. I don't know what they did to the end of this. And the fringe is a very important part of the rug. For value, the fringe is important, okay? So now, this particular rug, and one of the things I always say is, look at the back. Does the back look like the front? The back won't be exactly like the front, but you can see the same mirror image, right? Front and back. Here's the other side, right? And you can see, if you compare it, here's the sawtooth pattern, the same here, here, and then on the side, the back, on the front, excuse me. Okay. All of that is very important for value because it shows you how intricate and how high quality the loom is. And the person who's doing the weaving is important, but the loom is important too. Okay? So, what did you pay at the thrift store for this rug? $5. This rug in this condition is worth about $250, even in this condition. Your husband acquired it from a friend who gave it to him? Okay, did he give him this hammer too? Do you know that no, not same friend? Is this the same husband? Oh, okay. Your only husband? Your first husband? Your sixth husband? Is he Don? Do you recognize this man sitting next to you? All right, just checking. Old tools. The first things you folks throw out, Grandma passes away, you go down into the garage and you get rid of Grandpa's fishing lures. A fishing lure sold for $100,000 and you're throwing them out. You did it, didn't you? You threw out the fishing lures because they're smelling up your nice, clean garage, right? I know. The other things you throw out is you throw out tools. You throw out by gender. You get rid of things by gender. You think, oh, well, what's anybody going to want these old things for? Stanley Works tools, planers. This is a 3-in-1, so these are somewhat of interest, but not great interest. Value on this about $40. But this particular hammer dates pretty far back. This particular hammer could be worth as much as $90, dates to the turn of the 20th century. This is a button of Colfax and Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, who we of course know best as the Civil War hero of the Union Army. This particular piece is when he is running for political office. So this is the two figures in profile, right? Ulysses S. Grant and his running mate. So buttons would actually be on, you hear of campaign buttons, we think about pin backs, but this button would actually be sewn onto your, you can see the back of the button, can actually be sewn, pardon me, onto your coat or onto your shirt. This particular piece and others like it actually follow suit after what are called Ambrose type buttons from the Lincoln administration. So when Lincoln was actually running with Johnson, they had little buttons with their images on them, but those were photographs attached to a button. These are actually rubber, they're actually stamped out, actually cast out in a material and then utilized as buttons. They're pretty rare. The Lincoln example, about $4,000 for one of them. Your example, about $1,200 during an election year. That's this year, right? If you wait till next year, you gotta wait another 4 years to get that kind of money for it. Grant's important for, of course, his work during the Civil War. Grant's also important, of course, for all of the things that he did in the middle to late part of the 19th century as our president. That's gorgeous. And I'm a little surprised, which doesn't always happen at Dr. Laurie's table. The whole rest of the piece has actually images or facial images of figures like monks, right? Okay, so that particular piece is hand-hammered metal, copper, and it's patinated. The color on top of it patinated. Very nice piece. I'd say value on that particular piece anywhere between $1,500 and $1,800. You could have brought me anything you got. Anything. I would look at it and I would know it. I've seen it all. This is what you choose to bring me. Really? Really? I'm not going to go through my whole bio. 30 books, I'm an author, a syndicated columnist, all this stuff. Major museums, the Yale Art Gallery, I've lectured at the Louvre and the Hermitage, the Uffizi in Florence. I'm the deal. I know, not great thighs, but the brain is good. This is what you're bringing me? I gotta tell you that this is worth like $1. Yeah, $1. You know why? Is there anybody who wants the school souvenir from 1904 of public school number 3? Any of you? Tell the truth. You don't. $1. Come back tomorrow and bring something better. Jeez. Found it in my house. Go dig somewhere. Haven't you seen Oak Island? Ethan.
Yeah.
What's this, Ethan? This is not any better. Is this in that same lard jar?
Yeah.
Did you get any lard out of that jar?
Yeah.
Can't even make a tuna fish sandwich out of that jar. Jeez, Ethan. How old are you? 27. I don't even remember 27. That was like 10,000 objects ago. Maybe it was like 100,000 objects ago. Wow, wait a minute. 20,000 times all these years. Oh, geez, that was a long time ago.